Welcome everybody back to Friar Talk. We're going live with all three of us after it's been quite a while. It's been a minute. Isaac and I recorded like a month ago. We're like, yeah, like some news will come in. Like we'll record again. Nothing. There's been and Isaac, I you. I mean, I don't think there would have been anything to talk about. We could have talked about the NFL. Chase and I, as 49er fans, wouldn't have wanted to do that. But I mean, for the most part, like there's really been nothing to talk about. Then yesterday, some news comes in, and it's not exactly news that we even want to talk about today, but it is something to talk about. There's some Roki Sasaki drama going on over the past like few hours that everyone's starting to be like, okay, he's going to make his decision. But the first thing to discuss in all of this are the ownership issues. I'll be honest, like we already chatting about it before. Like we're not going to get like super into it, like the specifics, just because like what have we got? We've got like a lawsuit got made, and we got like a counter response from Seidler's brothers, right? From what we've seen, the highlights of it, we're not business, super high end business people. We're not lawyers. We don't know how this is going to play out. So I think anything that we would do would just be like speculation where it's like, yeah, we don't know what we're talking about. It seems like there's some really crappy spots of it. And like, yeah, if you're going to ask me on like a pure out, like, oh yeah, like who do you think is in the right? Like, yeah, I guess Sheil, his wife or his widow is like more, but like also we don't really know what's happening. But either way, it seems like a super shitty situation. It seems like the big takeaway that like I guess I would have is like it, at least from her perspective, it feels like the team's being taken away from Peter Seidler's immediate family, and that seems to be the issue. Um, is that going to happen? I don't know. Is she going to get the team? I don't know. Are the brothers? We really have no idea. Like, I think you could kind of go out on a limb and say like the MLB could force them to sell the team. One of them could take over and sell the team. One of the parties could keep the team. Like, there's so many different ways this could play out. So it's like at this point we have like such little information that I think it's a little bit much to be like diving into it. Like, well, I think this and I think this, because it would just be like pure speculation. But either way, like I do feel for her side because I feel like it's been a rough, 15 months, like a really really rough 15 months for her and for the kids. So like that's the thing where it just seems like it seems like a disaster. And I think the biggest takeaway from Padres side of it is like this is bad. And we've talked about the Roki Sasaki stuff. I don't think it's good for it. In fact, I think it's really, really bad for it. And then today, if you've been following the news, basically what happened is the Padres pulled all their international pool money for Sasaki, obviously, and the Dodgers did the same thing. So he hasn't decided as we're recording this, but it's coming up, and both teams appear to think that they're getting him. So that's kind of what's going on, all in all. I mean, for being 100% honest, that's like all of what's happened. But and Justin Verlander signed with the Giants. So there you go, a full update on MLB stuff. But Isaac, I'll go to you first, man. Like, what are just kind of like, I don't know, what are you thinking about all this stuff going on?
I mean, I think we were all blindsided by it yesterday. It was a weird thing to hear, considering that was kind of the last thing on our minds. But you look at it from Shield's perspective, and it's basically what you said, man. It's an unfortunate situation to be in. It's been a tough few months for her, or not few months, past year and a half or two have been rougher, losing Peter. Peter, from what I read, we all kind of speculated that, his time was coming, but from the time that it happened, it wasn't expected to happen. It was completely different. It wasn't related to anything that he was going through health-wise at the time. So it was a completely different thing than what we knew about. So, to take an unexpected hit and then, be told or be under the assumption that this was going to be your team, you were going to manage it, you were going to try and carry out Peter's vision, but, his brothers end up trying to take that from you. Yeah. That is pretty rough. And I don't know the whole story. I don't want to just assume that, they're trying to take it from her, but from what I've read, that is what it seems like it is. But what's really unfortunate is that it seems like Sheil wants to carry out the vision of the Padres, the vision of Peter, bring a championship home, spend the money necessary in order to bring that championship home, go get Roki, go be aggressive in free agency, go be aggressive in the trade market. And as of right now, under the brothers' watch, what it seems like right now is the brothers' watch, we have spent $900,000, bottom 5 in all of baseball. I don't remember a Padres offseason being so quiet. And of course, we can go back to the days where they were one of the bottom barrel teams in baseball. But as they have been one of the best teams and one of the most highly sought after teams and one of the most entertaining teams in baseball, they have never been this quiet into January. Maybe you could say last year, but even then, there were still moves that were trying to be made. The only one we know of right now is Roki Sasaki. That's the only move we know that they're trying to make right now. We haven't heard anything else about trying to acquire players. We haven't heard anything else about trying to acquire players. We've only heard trying to trade players. We've heard that they might trade Arise. We've heard that they might trade Cease. So we haven't heard anything about the Padres potentially making moves in favor or adding to the roster. We've heard of them trying to subtract from the roster or subtract from the payroll, which is not an optimal move for the Padres considering the state that they're in right now. So as far as the lawsuit goes, I think I can speak for most of us, if not all of us, when I say, of course, we're Team Shield. You know, we want the vision of Peters to be carried out. We want that packed stadium to be worth a packed stadium, because the way the Padres are operating right now, the increase in prices, the increase in revenue for them and all that, it's not justified to me. And at the end of the day, yes, baseball is a business. The Padres, at the end of the day, they are a business and they're going to do whatever's financially right for them. But at the same time, you've invested so much into this current team that there is no point in not continuing to invest in it. At this point, it just at this point, it doesn't make sense to just, lay down and say, well, the Dodgers are spending all this money. Hold on. Because they're going crazy.
I could take over for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
But dude, I think you're right. Like in terms of like the spending and stuff, like just because like you look at it from that side and it's like, okay, what's the vision of like what they want them to do? Like let's just put it like this, like go back when Peter was running everything, right? And it's like, yeah, like like sometimes they would sign a bad contract and stuff, but the vision was very clear. They wanted to spend money to put a winning product on the team, and they felt like that was the way to build out the Padres. And whether or not you're happy with like what they've done, or you think it's enough, or you think some of the moves are good or bad, I don't think there's a single Padre fan that looks at it and goes, it was better before. I don't think there's a single person, not one person, that should believe that. And I don't, there's no logic in that, right? But the thing that I find interesting is like you're talking about, like, what does it look like? Like, what is like that overall, like, or how is that going to continue? And it seems like that is Shield's motive. So like, if you're looking at it like from RD, what's the best thing for the Padres team? Like, you got to assume that it's for her to carry it on, because that was her goal. Does that mean like that doesn't happen in a different way? No, but just like from like seeing it, it's like, yeah, like I think that's the best move. And like Isaac, like I think you're right. Like, and it also just seems like she's kind of getting ripped off. Like that's what it seems like. But also, like we said, like it's very early. I mean, I don't know. Like there's also another flip side of like, what if the Padres, like, and I think this is a very decent chance, like the Padres could get sold too. You know what I mean? But then if they get sold, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but it could mean it's a really bad thing. Like it's just, it becomes like a coin flip at that point. Like, and maybe because of what people have seen, like they've seen playoff baseball in San Diego, they've seen how packed the ballpark gets. It could be really awesome, but we don't know that. And that's the problem, is like there's so much uncertainty now. And I think I'll see what you think. I know Chase is trying to get on here to hop on, but the uncertainty part is the part that scares me for Sasaki. Like that's how you're feeling too, right? Where it's like, okay, the Sasaki sweepstakes are obviously going on. I feel like, yeah, we can be like, oh, we don't know, like maybe it doesn't affect him. Dude, if you're a caliber of player like him, where like every single team wants you, and there's an organization that looks really dysfunctional, I think we'd be lying if we don't think it like it's gonna make a big impact.
That is very true. I mean, I didn't think of that. You're absolutely right. The way I see it is like, as long as AJ Preller is part of the recruiting process. I think there's a better than zero, of course, but better than most teams' chance that the Padres will still land Roki. When you look at the recruiting process, there's more than just the Sidlers, right? Because that situation, it'll eventually get settled. Like it's not a forever thing. As a matter of fact, I would say it's a very temporary thing that this fiasco is going to continue. And honestly, I don't really see a scenario where Shield doesn't end up getting the team when it comes to the things we've seen, right? Like in the list that Peter put, it's supposed to be Shield and the kids. That's the order. And I don't really see how that should or would be betrayed or would not be in her favor. So like I said, that situation will eventually get handled. But when it comes to everything else, I mean, I think the only organization that probably should and does have a better chance than us is unfortunately the Dodgers. The Dodgers have a that fan base, it's getting a lot more hype in Japan because Shohei Ohtani, the greatest player to ever do it, is on their team. And with that, all eyes are going to be on you. And I don't know, from what I've seen, what I've heard, Roki doesn't want all eyes to be on him because of the pressure he felt in Japan. But if you want the big money eventually, that's probably the best. Honestly, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but that is probably the best place to go, unfortunately. Because when you look at it, it's like really.
But what's the chances? Not trying to. I'm not trying to be a hater over here, but what's the chances his arm blows out if he goes there?
Oh,
Isn't every single person's arm blow out?
It's more likely than if he comes to us.
Well, I guess ours isn't too good either, though, huh?
I mean, no, but if you look at the guys that have been under Niebla, it's really just Musgrove.
Yeah, but Musgrove is also different because like it felt like that one was coming for a while.
That one was coming. That one had been brewing since like last year. But also, it's like if Roki goes to LA, is it really a debate in who's the ace? I mean, you could say Blake Snell, but Blake Snell, outside of his 2 Cy Young years, he has above a 4 ERA or above a 3.7, and I think that's kind of Sasaki's ceiling, a 3.7. Yamamoto, well, Sasaki was better than Yamamoto in Japan. Who's going to compete with him?
I mean, Glass now too.
Glass now, but he's hurt by July.
That's another problem with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So finally,
hello. So the problem.
Hello.
But the problems with the Dodgers aren't necessarily as big as the problem with the Padres. Like the Dodgers, you're going to get a good pitching organization to go to. A lot of money's going to be spent. You got an immediate, guaranteed chance to win. But with the Padres, man, you're going to come. You can come with Darvish. You can come with Hideo Nomo. And honestly, you get the chance to make a name for yourself rather than make a name behind Shohei Ohtani. So when it comes to Sasaki, man, I think we have probably the top 5 odds in the MLB, but only one team can get him, so that doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah, so Chase, just to kind of recap where we're at, I know you were bouncing it out. Basically, we're talking about like, look, we'd rather see Shield like win this with the understanding like we don't really know what's happening yet, but just based off what we've seen, and also like that no matter what the situation is, like at least I think that it definitely impacts the chances to get Sasaki. But Isaac also brought up a point that like, I mean, also like he's clearly been like involved, like let known like what's happening with all this. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's pretty obvious. Just like with the legal stuff, at least hopefully. If we're still a contending team, I'm sure that he's been like talked to about it. But also that it could be viewed as a very temporary thing. And that's kind of what they're telling Sasaki. But I don't know, dude. Like, what are you thinking overall, just with like both of these situations? Because I do think they kind of go hand in hand. This is also all that's going on right now as we wait to see what happens with Padres ownership, and also wait to see what happens with Sasaki.
Like Isaac was with Sasaki, and the Japanese media, like he wanted to land, I think, with like a mid-market team where he's in the spotlight and the media won't tear him apart. So that instantly takes away anybody on the East Coast. East Coast is all, he would hate being on the Phillies. He'd hate being on the Yankees. He'd hate being on the Mets. the fans and the media would tear him apart if he didn't perform to their standards, which is fair. I mean, you're paying a player all that amount of money, and so you should be able to criticize them, but he'd get no lap over there. The Dodgers and Padres make the most sense, in my opinion. The Dodgers make sense because, hey, you know what? If you're coming into your own, not the whole team's not going to rely on you to perform if you're on the Dodgers. You have Shohei, you have Yamamoto. You're going to be standing behind two other Japanese aces that were the top of the league, or if not, your competitor, top best pitcher in the league. And they can mentor you in going to the MLB. And Yamamoto being, just having his first year, be like, hey, this is the struggle I went through. This is how we're going to get through it. Here's this. They got the interpreters. Same thing with Padres. You have Hideo Nomo, you have Drew Darvish as a veteran experience in that market. And the Padres are a size market, but you got the ownership struggles now. With that, I think he would perform here in San Diego. I think he'd be fine. But I still think he'd feel pressure of having to be like the ace of the organization-ish. He'd still be like the third pitcher, but he'd have the highest expectations of anybody in the rotation. As if he went to the Dodgers, it would be all Shohei. If he landed on the Padres, he'd instantly be, this is the favorite rotation. He's going to be Darvish's successor. He's going to be the number 1, 2, and then Darvish and Musgrove are going to be right behind him. And then you got King. You're going to have a great rotation, but there's still going to be a lot of expectations on him leading the rotation with an aging Darvish, with a Musgrove that's coming injured, with King, who just had a really good season. Is he going to be able to do it again with his sophomore? Is he going to experience a sophomore slump? There's still a lot of questions there. But I still think he either goes, I think Dodgers or Padres, one of those two. I don't really see another team coming in and seeing him where he'd be the perfect fit. And I think those two reasons are the only reasons that.
I was gonna say we got the classic. There's a surprise team, which I feel like they say with like any big signing, like there's a surprise team, and all that means is like this dude's about to sign somewhere else. It's never. Then I don't think the surprise team has ever actually been signed with. I can't really think of one. It's like, yeah. So it's like I feel like with him, it's like it's been Padres and Dodgers and maybe the Cubs, and that's kind of been what's talked about for the most part. And then it's like, okay, yeah, it's still Padres, Dodgers. Oh, yep. Everyone still thinks Padres, Dodgers, and now there's a surprise team. It's like, yeah, dude, he's not. I highly doubt he's signing with the surprise team. But yeah, dude. I mean, I also think I saw this up here earlier. Devin wrote this. See, I feel like Sasaki is the trigger. The rest of the MLB is betting on the offseason, like buzz for like to resume. Yeah, like I think that's true. You know what I mean? Like once he signed, especially for the Padres, like because I was kind of like looking at it, and we're talking about like how much money they've spent like post Peter Seidler, and like it's super concerning and stuff. But also like they made a lot of moves last year. They were trying to get below a certain number, but where they're still spending. If they're gonna still like they need to spend some money this year. Obviously, there's been some Luis Ariz trade rumors. There's been stuff talked about Dylan Cease, right? These guys are both on 1-year deals, so it makes a ton of sense. But if you are the Padres, like you're going to wait to see if you sign Sasaki, because if you don't sign Sasaki, then you need to go get pitching immediately. You know what I mean? So like everything, like your needs obviously really change with him. So I think that's true. I mean, I think that's a big part of also why they haven't spent yet. And I don't think that like, I don't know, like we can be frustrated that they're not spending, they're not doing stuff, but like, are you guys really looking at it? And like, has there been any moves where you're like, man, we totally missed on that one?
No.
Because I don't think there is either. Like Chase, can you think of one? I know there's been like a couple guys that were like, oh, that's a pretty good value, but no one where it's like, oh no, like, oh, Santander signed for nothing. Like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still like options. There's still like stuff going on. Like,
Yeah, there's been no one that I really care about. I mean, who's gone so far? It's like that we could use. Really, when you look at the pitching market, it's like, all right, Max Fried.
But you don't want to touch that deal. You
Yeah,
know, like,
that's a lot of money. The only player on the current market that'll make me feel that way is Sasaki, honestly. You get Sasaki and then you build around your superstars. Really, it's like we said all offseason, man, it's Sasaki or bust, right? It's like if you don't get Sasaki, then the plans kind of change. It hurts to not get Sasaki because the financial flexibility you get of signing him where you have a superstar. It's like having a superstar quarterback on a rookie contract. You're getting a superstar pitcher on a contract well below, maybe not well below, but damn near close to $5 million. I think it's like 6.25 per year for however many years it is. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to go ahead and say, well, maybe we could use one more starting pitcher, but now we can start rounding out our lineup. Maybe we can look into bringing back Jerickson Profar or Ha-Seong Kim or whoever it is that you want to bring back. You can start looking at depth. There's a lot of things you can do if you get Sasaki. It opens up so much. Whereas if you don't get him, fuck, I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do. I mean, we just saw a 42-year-old or however old he is, Justin Verlander, go for $15 million, whereas there's going to be a 25, 20, or maybe 24. I don't know how old Sasaki is. Year-old pitcher going for $6 million. More than half or less than half of what Verlander is making. So it's a big deal, man. The Sasaki sweepstakes aren't just a thing of, the talent itself, but it's also like you're getting one of the most valuable, if not the most valuable contract in all of baseball. That's why it's so important for the Padres, especially because a small market team that's trying to compete with the bigger markets needs flexibility in their spending. And they can't do that if they don't have young guys on cheap contracts. So this is where I definitely think when Sasaki goes somewhere, the dominoes will start to fall when it comes to the Padres. Pieces will start to fall into place. If they get Sasaki or don't get Sasaki, the moves after will kind of correlate with what type of season they plan on having.
Yeah, and the one thing I was going to say is the only thing that's been really frustrating with this offseason is that you kind of look around and you see every team in the NL West, like beside the Rockies, because it's the Rockies, kind of round out their roster or starting to begin to round out their rosters already. Everybody's made a move where, like, you know what? That just made their lineup a little bit more dangerous. That made their bullpen a little bit more dangerous. That made their rotation a little bit more dangerous. Like, you got the Giants. The Diamondbacks have made a few moves. I forgot who they added, but it was like, damn, everybody is making a move to strengthen themselves to compete for the division, and just twiddling our thumbs right now.
yeah, dude. And dude, the other thing with that too, like, so I see this comment right here, and I think this is a good point. Like, so as you guys have been talking, I've been kind of like scrolling through like just like Fangraphs like free agency list, right? Dude, some of these deals are bad, bro. Like so like obviously the big one for the Padres everyone's talking about is like, oh, Xander Bogaerts, right? He has 25 AAV. Dude, look at this one, man. And like it's not like I don't like believe in this guy like altogether, but like just based on his production, Tyler O'Neill just signed a deal 3 years for just under 50 million. So 16.5 million with the Orioles, right? Not last year. Last year he had a good year. He had 30 bombs. He had good numbers, right? The 2 years before that, it looked like he was going to be like out of the league soon. You know what I mean? Like Profar. Dude, look at Profar's projection contract. And I don't think he's going to get this, but he's supposed to get a 3-year, $45 million deal. Like, that's a lot of money, man. So I saw this comment right here. Ash T, right? I know we need to make moves, but do we not believe in Tirso or any of our prospect pitchers who are supposed to make their debut soon? The pitchers, not as much. But, like, I do think we were talking about this before. It's like, you do need to see, like a lefty platoon of, like, Iggy and Tirso. Like, you do need to have aspects of your team that are built like that. And, like, we've talked about this forever with the Padres. So, like, yeah, that is part of it. Like, okay, do you want to sign Profar or Tyler O'Neill or whoever it is for $15 million AAV? or do you want to like have someone come up and try to develop them? Like, so there is that aspect too. Also, like next year, you're losing a lot of money. Like you haven't made a trade for, a Rise coming off the books or Cease coming off the books where like all this money's freed up. So like you are in a spot where it's like the Padres roster like for this season, they only need a little bit, and that's why we've also said like, I mean, we haven't really talked that much off season, but between us too, we've been like it's Roki Sasaki or bust. It's definitely Roki Sasaki or bust. Like that's the move this year. Do you get him or do you not? You're not going to make some crazy splash. I don't think anyone was expecting that to be the case when the offseason started. But it is just weird, like seeing like, okay, nothing's happening. Everyone else in the division is getting better. And everyone in the NL seems to be getting better as well, outside of like the Cardinals turning into like a rebuilding team. But it is just a weird spot to be in where it's like, okay, like once again, like Nick Martinez signed for 1 year, $21 million. Do we want the Padres to do that? No, I don't want the Padres to do that. Like, so that's where it's tough. Also, yeah, dude, Pete Alonso, he's like one of the few guys that hasn't signed. Like, it's gonna be. I don't know if you guys have been like seeing this. Like, have you seen like Pete Alonso's getting like no like good offers? You're muted, Isaac.
My bad. None, because he doesn't deserve it. He's not that good.
Dude, okay, but here's the thing. All right? Like Pete Alonso kind of can be annoying and stuff. But he's supposed to get like crap offers. This dude still hits like 40 bombs a year.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Like you're telling me for a little bit more, you'd rather have a little bit less, you'd rather have Tyler O'Neill than Pete Alonso? No, absolutely not. Pete Alonso's been doing it for too long. That's a problem. I mean, I don't think it's like crazy value, but it is kind of just nuts that he's the guy that hasn't signed. When like all these other contracts are just like, oh, this is a lot of money for a guy that's not that good. Oh, this is a lot of money for a guy that's not that good. Do we want Arenado? I don't know. It seems like Arenado's a Red Sox, right?
No. I not only that, I just don't want him. Yeah, I don't know where I'd put him.
Also, like, why are you paying for him? Why? Like, it doesn't really make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Chase, I know you're battling with the Wi-Fi, Chase, but do you have any interest in Arenado?
No, I do not have any interest in Arenado.
Yeah,
nor like Pete Alonso for the right contract makes sense. If you want a guy who can just hit a ton of bombs in the DH spot, hey, he might be worth a call. But $200 million, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one really that catches my eye necessarily. I mean, I'm looking at the guys that are available, or I'm trying to find the guys that are available. And the way I see it is like, I'm sorry, man. The only one I want is Roki. Like, there's no one else that really catches my eye. There's Pete Alonso still on the market. Alex Bregman still on the market. I mean, I guess if you're looking at relievers, there's like Kenley Jansen, Ryan Presley. But there's no one on the market that you're looking at and you're saying, yeah, we absolutely need them. If you're looking at like bats, you can say, oh, well, Justin Turner, but he's old. Other than that, man, there's no one that really catches my eye. It's like you've said multiple times, it's either going to be Roki Sasaki or bust. And if you do get Roki Sasaki, then really the plan should be just bring back guys that have been part of this before, right? Whether it's Ha-Seong Kim or Jurickson Profar, I think that should be the plan because, I mean, last year that was a damn good team. The only other rumor I've seen is about Tanner Scott, and I've seen that the rumor is it's between us and I believe it's the Red Sox. But again, we haven't heard anything on some of these guys, man. Tanner Scott's one of the best relievers in baseball, and we've heard no news on him. So like I said, I mean, like we've all said, the pieces will fall into place when Roki Sasaki signs. And I see Devin mentioning the moves that have been made by the other teams in the NL West. As far as the Diamondbacks go, Burns and Naylor, Burns doesn't scare me. As bold as that may be to say, I'm not really scared of Corbin Burns. Josh Naylor, of course, he's solid. The Dodgers, whether they got those guys or not, they were going to be scary. And the Giants, but I'm sorry, Adames and Verlander don't make them a better team.
I gotta disagree with the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks got a lot better. The Giants, no. The Giants are like
Giants are, yeah, they're not good.
I was talking this with my roommate today, right? The Giants won their 3 World Series in 5 years off of like middle of the pack teams, right? Had like some postseason heroics, and they're just gonna like sell that to their fan base for the next 50 years and just not.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like crappy. It's like, which I mean, like, look, they got 3 World Series, bro. Like, you can't take that away for sure. But like, that's what they're gonna sell. They're gonna sell like, oh, we're gonna just be around like an okay team and do that, and they're gonna make the playoffs. Yeah, but like they're gonna barely make the playoffs some years, or be like it's just it's almost like the purgatory kind of spot of like we are average.
Yeah,
and like, but I mean, like unless you get like a nasty pitching rotation, you don't ever like win anything like that. Look at the Brewers. Like that's been the Brewers for the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the Giants, I feel like they can be good, man. The lineup is very not scary. It's not a scary lineup at all. There's Matt Chapman, who probably won't have the year he had last year again. And there's Willy Adames. And I can't think of anyone else in that lineup that's really that threatening. But I don't know, man. I feel like
Willy Adames had a good year.
Yeah, Willy Adames had a good year. But again, I just feel like our competition is the Dodgers. The only thing that scares me about the Diamondbacks is we can never beat them at Chase Field. That is the only thing that scares me. Other than that, I understand why everyone might.
That's usually when I go there, so I'm part.
Especially when Chase goes. But like the rotation is Corbin Burns.
It's Rodriguez, a walk-off home run in the same exact spot each time.
That walk-off home run in the first game you went to of the 2022 season was, dude. I hope you drank your pain. That was horrible. Even watching from home,
I had to drive home. I had to drive 2 hours home, so I couldn't. I wish I could.
It was only the first game, but that broke my heart. Like, that was Robert Suarez's first pitching appearance ever. Oh my god,
dude! It was a deja vu moment. It was a deja vu. Because the last Diamondbacks game I went to before that, it was the same exact scenario. Craig Stammen came into the ninth. It was a little different. Craig Stammen came in after Suarez opening day, but before that, Craig Stammen came into the ninth to the same exact game, Dalton Varsho, and hit it in the same exact spot when I was there, like just the season prior. And then I go to the first game. Same thing happens. I almost fall because I was sitting damn near where the ball was before.
Wasn't it?
So if I go again, I know where to sit so I can catch a walk-off.
Wasn't it Dalton Varsho that hit the other one too? It was, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. If I remember right, I feel like that sounds right.
Same guy, same pitcher.
That's literally the worst thing ever. Wow. That
deja vu. Same exact thing. Yeah. I don't have good luck when I go see the Padres. That's why I only go watch them during spring training, because then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, then it's kind of fun.
I had to unplug my mic. Yeah, man. I mean, looking at the rest of the NL West, though, I like. Sure, you can say the D-backs might be a little scary, but I'm sorry, man. I'm not scared of them. Like, I don't think they're a threat. Like, they're gonna be a threat to make the playoffs. They're probably gonna be that team at the end that we're fighting with, saying like, oh shoot, we're barely this many games up on them, or they're this many games up on us. But they had that Cinderella run. I don't really see them being that much of a threat anymore.
They got hot. Here's the thing. The reason they didn't do so good last year was because of what you call it. Like Corbin Carroll didn't do his thing first half of the season. And then when he caught fire, the rest of the team caught fire. Now you have Josh Naylor, who's low-key a psychopath and clutch as hell.
Oh yeah, he's
love
sick,
that
bro.
guy, but he's crazy. So cool. I don't think I've seen anyone else headbutt helmets with a helmet on.
No, he's cool. He's really cool. I guess. I mean, yeah. I think roster-wise, yeah, they're probably better than us right now. But I think there's moves that can be made to where we can be saying, like, all right, the Padres are much better. Or not much better, but they are better than the Diamondbacks. They're more of a threat to the Dodgers than the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, so what else do you guys think about this stuff?
Dude, I don't know, man. I mean, there's nothing much to really talk about. There's Roki and there's this lawsuit, and then there's been a whole bunch of hoopla. If you guys saw yesterday, Luis Patino is back with us, if that makes any of you happy. That's it. That's really it. Nothing else has really been made. So sit back, man. Sit back and watch. By next Wednesday, we should know where Roki Sasaki is going to be going.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to wait until then. And I think, look, the reason we don't come on here right now is because there's no reason to. There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, there's literally been nothing. That's why today we're like, oh, I guess we can talk about this, even though it's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't seem nothing. This seems bad. This seems really bad,
Yeah.
but at least you could talk about it.
It's something, yeah. So like we got on today because it's like, all right, well, it's something. It's not great, but it's something. And so, but most of our off-season talk has I mean, it's only been 2 episodes, but it's mostly consisted of Roki. And next week when that domino falls, I think.
I mean, we can look at the.
Yeah.
But we have to wait to see if they get Roki for like any of this stuff. That's the thing, because like that's also what's going to dictate. Like,
not necessarily. Like we can talk about Tirso, Eggy, guys competing for an outfield spot if we don't bring back Profar. Like, that's about it, though. That's about it.
No, that's what I mean, dude. It's just not. I mean, like right now, like the depth chart, like it's all right. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's like, yeah, you got some holes here and there. Like you can, like, okay, who are the guys that could get traded? Cease, Suarez, Cronenworth, and the longest shot, Bogarts. Right? That's not happening. And Arise. It's like, all right, well, like we'll see if there's. But like, it's just like there's not gonna be too much like. There just hasn't been any type of like rumors. That's the other problem is like there's been nothing. Like it's just like, well, we don't know. Like
Roki can everything right now.
Yeah,
that's what everyone's waiting for, man. So I don't know. I don't really have anything to talk about. I saw Devin said NFL playoffs talk. I mean,
we can talk about the Soto contract.
The what?
I think you guys talked about that earlier, though.
Oh, the Soto contract. I think
the Soto contract. Yeah. How he's worth $765 million.
Dude, to be honest, if you actually look at the contract, it's over 800.
Yeah, it's over 800 because after a certain amount of time, it's an extra 5 per year.
Yeah, or he can opt out, and they're just not going to do that. Like that's just not going to happen. So it's really 800, which is insane. Which is also like brings up this question of like. And the Padres are included in this. Because we know this, like there's like a good like half of the MLB teams spend money, half of the MLB teams don't spend money, right? Like everyone's aware of that watches baseball. What happens when all of these teams spend these insane contracts where they sign all these guys for 10 to like 15 years? What happens in 5 years?
Yeah.
When the Mets can't sign anyone, the Padres can't sign anyone, this team can't, like all these teams can't sign anyone. Where are these guys gonna go?
Yeah.
Like the Yankees and the Dodgers.
It's gonna be the same thing that always happens. They're gonna sell them. No, they're gonna sell the old corpse of, Soto to a low market team just to say they got Juan Soto to put butts in seats because they're gonna come and watch an old Juan Soto in Miami because the Marlins aren't good. I mean, or, in Oakland, or not in Oakland now, in Las Vegas, just because, they're in Las Vegas, might as well go see Soto while they're there.
Cool.
or
That
just another old washed up player on the last years of his contract. It's how it goes. Hell, we
but
got
I'm just saying,
Matt
like,
Kemp when we were
the
trying to
money
compete.
just
Old Matt
yeah, but that was like 1 year.
James Shields.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, these guys are gonna be like how long Soto's deal? It's what,
But
14,
it
right?
happens all the time.
So
Yeah,
it
but
was 16.
yeah, so the money, but my thing is, like,
Hell,
the
look what we
total
traded
money.
Eric Hosmer away because he couldn't perform. We ate some of his contract and set prospects over. It's just
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all
but
he's gonna do. Team gonna eat
but
part of the
also, but
contract, send it over
the deals
with
used to
some
be so
prospects,
much
and then
shorter. That's the thing. The deals used to be like I was looking back, like, like Miguel Cabrera's
oh
like
yeah,
crazy
that's what I
deal.
said. It's gonna be the last 5.
That's just a lot though. There's no way that, like, the A's could eat the last 5 years of Soto's deal. That's twice their salary cap right there. You know what I mean? Like, that's twice the money they spend every year. So it's like that's where, like, I'm just wondering, like, maybe you're right. Maybe like nothing really changes, but I do find it interesting. It's like, okay, for instance, Hosmer, right? We traded Hosmer with like 3 years left on his deal. He signed like a 6-year deal. He didn't sign like a 12, like Bogart signed a 12-year deal. You know what I mean? Like, right? He signed 12 years.
Who?
Yeah, Bogart's is 12, right?
Oh yeah, 12.
Yeah, Bogart signed a 12-year deal.
He goes to
No, sorry. 11.
Okay, 11. I don't try to think about this one too much.
Something like that.
It's a lot of years, all right? It's a lot of years. I haven't looked at it in a while. But it's like, yeah, like, that's the thing, is like, it's gonna be a while. Like, yeah, Manny's extended for so long. Like, there's so many guys that are extended, like, so many long, like, these contracts are so much longer. I don't really care about the AAV being up. Like, yeah, of course that's gonna happen. But like, when you're paying a dude till he's like 40 something,
Exactly. That
like,
is
think about how bad Miggy's was at the end. You guys remember that, right? Like, they were paying Miggy a ton. Dude, that's like half the size when he got signed, like half the size of what these guys are making sometimes, or what, like, the years that they're getting. Crazy.
that all started when, dude, I want to say that started when Xander was trying to get a deal, because what you saw is like 30-year-old Aaron Judge getting double-digit years, Manny Machado, same thing, Xander Bogaerts, same thing, Trey Turner, like all these guys that in the past normally you'd see getting maybe a 5 or 6 year deal into their late 30s. Suddenly they're going to be with the Padres or with any other team into their 40s, getting the same amount of money as they were when they were in their prime. With the idea being that they're going to backload the contract a little bit. For example, with Manny, they're going to backload the contract so that way in their prime they can compete and they'll worry about it later and hope that the money they make pays off the contract. Now that may be the case for the Dodgers, but as far as the Padres, it's like the money you make is probably not going to pay off the contract of Manny and Xander and Fernando. So it's lately all you've been seeing are deals that exactly. Lately all you've been seeing are deals that start below 20 or 25 and then jump drastically later in the years. And that's not necessarily my favorite approach. I don't like that approach. I understand it because the Padres need to win now with the contracts that they have, but it's nice when you have a team that you can consistently say, hey, we have a chance at making the playoffs. And I don't think this is the approach that will result in that.
Dude, well, that's the thing. Like, the Padres,
I think you're going to see a lot more teams defer.
oh, Isaac, I think, just accidentally logged himself out. He'll probably be back in a second. Chase, I don't know what you were saying there,
I
but
think you're going to see a lot more teams defer money, though. Go ahead.
sorry, our stream like freaked out. It's been a minute.
My bad.
All right. You saw teams deferring money? Yeah, and that's like, I mean, it's kind of similar. Like, if you're backloading a contract, it's kind of like, there you go. You know what I mean? Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, and baseball is so much different in the way that, like, salary works and stuff. But like, look, like, I was pulling this one up, right? Dude, they're like just banking on either being able to move him or Manny to be really good in his late 30s and like early 40s. And that like if they're going to be a good team, like even Merrill's going to be making money then. Like 40 million a year is a lot. Like, so it's like, yeah, like like what realistically what's going to happen? They're either going to have to sell them and blow it up, or just have a lot of guys for a lot of money and just hope that you can develop guys for nothing at that time, which is terrifying. Like that's
that's
not,
horrible. But I do think,
like it's not. But the thing is, like you were talking about, like that's become the norm. That's what's happening to the Phillies right now too.
exactly.
It's the same thing. So it's really, really weird when you see that stuff. And you could even bring it up with like the Dodgers of like, and it's different because they have Ohtani. They're gonna make so much money off of like Ohtani being there, but they're gonna be paying him money when he's gone. You know what I mean? Like you're paying a guy like not there for like 10 years. So like that's another factor of like that's cash flow that's gone. And that's in like 10 years. So no one thinks about it now, but like that's gonna have an impact whether you think it will. Like it's going to have an impact down the road. It's a really weird model that then will be decided to take over, right? Like it does just seem strange.
And I think it'll get talked about at the next CBA agreement, because honestly, like it's not a sustainable thing for teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's pretty sustainable where those bigger contracts that get bigger as the years go on will be paid, but the whole point of a league should be that every team should have a chance to be competitive, and you get that in the NFL. You get that maybe not as much in the NBA, but you get it. In the MLB, the only teams that can have sustained success and consistently make the playoffs from year to year are the teams that can spend money and the teams that can do it year in and year out. That being the Yankees, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Mets, the bigger market teams. Um, and I understand why the Padres wanted to do it. But with that 2027, markup or rise in pay for Manny, and keep in mind, it's not just for Manny. It goes up for Fernando as well. For you, Darvish, I believe as well. I don't really remember. But it goes, yeah, I think you Darvish is consistent throughout the whole
His
contract.
goes down, I think.
Yeah. So I understand why the Padres wanted to do it, but I just don't think they were the right team to do it. I want to go back because JDS3rd asked us a question. How do you guys think Roki feels about being mentioned in the lawsuit? What are our odds now? I looked it up. As far as I know, it's still between the Dodgers and the Padres when it comes to the favorites. You're getting mixed things. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of, at least if you want to go off Nightingale, which I don't think anyone does, but it's what we have. He said that executives think the Padres are the favorite now, but there's going to be plenty of executives that think the Dodgers are the favorite. So as far as him being mentioned in the lawsuit, it wasn't in a vein where it's like, oh, I should be offended or anything. It was more so things that everyone already knew. It was the pursuit of Roki. That's pretty much it. That's all that was mentioned.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's like it. Like maybe it could be an issue, but like, or maybe like I don't know. It's just like we don't really know. Like that he might not. He might literally. It might literally be a 0.
Yeah.
Like it could definitely be a 0. Yeah, I don't know. Also, yeah, Bob. Hey, I'll give Bob some credit, dude. He's actually been better the past few years.
He has.
For a while there, it was bad. It was like nothing this dude says means anything. But lately, he's actually been better. I will say. Like when I see stuff by him, and I'm like, oh, is it actually going to be the case? And then like lately, I feel like, hey, Nightingale was actually money. I know we've texted that a few times. We're like, hey, Bob Nightingale was on this one first, believe it or not.
True. That is true.
Yeah, we also had another super chat. So thank you guys. Welcome to Padre Hell, boys. Yeah, there's a chance that might be happening. That's the scary thing right there. But thanks for the super
it can't
chat,
be
Mark.
worse than what we're already used to.
True.
It can't.
I don't know.
The 2010s were rough to us. Really.
When,
dude, that's the big thing with the ownership stuff.
I don't think it could be worse.
Well, the ownership stuff is just like we don't know what's gonna happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
Yeah, Peter Seidler was such a blessing because it was a total like 180 from what we knew. I am horrified that his brothers are going to take another 180 back to what we knew.
or they sell it to someone and then that
Yeah.
person does that.
And that person does that. So we don't know. I do think the Padres are a great buy. I think, they're in a small market, but I mean, we pack the stadium. We're the best. I think we're the best fan base in baseball.
Here, I got a game plan, all right? Steve Ballmer. The Clippers thing is an absolute mess, bro.
Yeah.
Sell him and come over here, all right? Spend your money here. Clippers thing did not work, all right? You the moment that you said, you know what, we're gonna trade for Paul George, it was all ruined right then. Anytime you trade the future for Paul George, you're screwed, all right?
Sure.
That's just the reality. I don't know. I don't know who else would be good owners. I don't really pay attention, but I know obviously Steve Ballmer's like it's a similar vision to what Peter Seidler had. You know what I mean? Of like, I'm gonna take a small market team, do whatever. Also, there's like no one in NFL that relates to this. And once again, why NFL is king of American sports is because the turnover is insane because everyone spends the same and everyone has the same. Like that's what's crazy about it.
Same amount of money. Everyone
That's it. There's like levels to it. Like you were talking about earlier about like how it goes. Like the NFL is just like the most competitive. Like everyone rotates in and out. It doesn't matter where you are. Even I mean, shoot, like what was it like 6 years ago? The Jaguars were nasty, right? They had the good defense and everything when they had Bortles and like Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns, and just J Ram and all those guys, right? They were good. And then it fell apart because they were the Jaguars. But then you have like the NBA where it's like, yeah, you have to you have a salary floor. Like you have to spend a certain amount. You got to do this. You got to do that. You know, you get the lottery. Like any team can get a good pick. But also like, no one's going to, I don't know, Oklahoma City over the Lakers. Like that's just the reality, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then there's that MLB where the market is totally dictated by where you're at and how much you can spend. And it's like there's like 3 steps of it of like, oh yeah, this one's just, and half the owners don't want to spend anything.
The MLB is the only league I can think of where it feels like teams like the Rays, Guardians, A's, et cetera, are basically like a higher type of farm system for the Dodgers, the Yankees, because that's where they ultimately end up going.
And even when they're good, it's like the guy is gonna leave.
Exactly.
Like, that's the problem with the Rays. It's like, yeah, the Rays are good, but how it's hard to be a fan. Like, think about this. Like, it's hard to be a fan of a team when you know they're just gonna leave every single time. Like, that's tough, dude. Also, I see Ace texted over here. What's up, dude? It's been a minute. Dude, it's been a minute for seeing a lot of people in the chat. I feel like.
I see that.
Yeah. Jerry Jones buys the Padres.
God, dude.
They change teams. Not gonna lie to you.
Stan Kroenke's not a bad one, Devin. I like that one.
That could happen, yeah.
That's a really good one.
But it hasn't. Isn't the whole thing? Isn't it him that like totally screwed up Arsenal? Is that what? I don't follow soccer like that.
I don't know.
I think that they have problems with him. I remember like reading up on stuff that like.
I know that he's the Rams. He's part of the Rams and the Nuggets, I believe.
The Nuggets? Okay, then that's a good sign right there, bro. Exactly. All right, then maybe I could be down.
I'm okay with that then.
Yeah, that's a really good option. I mean, I don't know. I don't want them to sell. I do like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it should be Shield, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. It's really annoying that the brothers, especially when it's like it's written on fucking paper, like this is the order. Like that's how it should be. That should be it. Like, all right, Shield, they're yours. It shouldn't. I don't think it should be a fight, but because that's the thing is money's the root. What is it that they say? Money's the root of all evil, and this is a very, very prime example of greed and.
You're going against your brother's with.
Exactly. It's evil. It's greed and it's really, it's evil.
Yeah. Dude, that's why it's like, that's why like when I saw it, I was like, oh God, dude, like, this is just a disaster. Like, yeah.
I got nothing else to say. I'm good. Honestly, 55 minutes is a lot longer.
I go.
Just because we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, we got two things, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, NFL playoffs. Let's do rapid fire. All right, and then we'll bounce.
All right.
All right.
Give us the games, and I'll see.
I'm not even give you the games. I'm gonna give you the teams. All right. Right. Obviously, I know who Isaac's rooting for the Chargers. I will say, I think the Chargers could upset the Chiefs in round 2. That'd be exciting. I'd be super down for that. Best two teams, I think, in the playoffs: Ravens and the Eagles. Think that's clear. The Eagles, I think, are going to run through the NFC. Like I honestly think it's going to be. I think it's going to be light work. The Ravens. Todd Monken likes to just say, you know what, we have Derrick Henry. Let's not hand them the football anymore. That's how they will lose, as we saw last season when they ran the ball to their running back 3 times. But hopefully Lamar and Derrick are like, yo, if you keep doing this, we're just going to run zone read for the second half. But I do think also this is an insane question. Do you guys have Kansas City fatigue? Bro, Chase and I are 49ers fans. Yes, we have Kansas City fatigue.
What kind of you guys do? I'm a Charger fan, so of course. I honestly, I've had Kansas City fatigue since the Alex Smith days. Because they've won our division or have gone to the wild card for so long that it's just kind of getting annoying at this point.
Yeah, they've won the division 9 years in a row.
Yeah, that's with 6, like 3 of those years being Alex Smith. So I've had Kansas City fatigue for a while now. But it's not necessarily to the point where it's like I hate them. I really just don't think they're that good this year. I don't think they're a good team. They're like, if they didn't have the devil magic on their side, realistically, they'd have like 11 or 12 wins. There's been multiple ways. The game against the Chargers where the dunk bounced in, the blocked field goal against the Broncos, more and more and more and more. The toe of Isaiah Likely being out of bounds. It's 3 off the top of my head. That gives them 3 extra losses if it goes any other way. So,
did you mention the Raiders?
I don't remember that one. But there's a lot, dude. There's like damn near every single one of their games have been like that.
Yeah.
So I just
when they're on,
it was the Raiders where they took the fumble, but there was a flag on the play that really wasn't a flag on the play that allowed the Chiefs to keep the ball. It was some stupid shit like that, and it allowed KC to keep the ball and kick the field goal or run out the clock. I forgot what happened.
I do remember that.
Yes. That was a crazy one. Was it the one with Justin Herbert? Is he any good?
Wait, so you had the Eagles over the Lions?
Oh, he's nice.
I like the Lions, dude. Well, the Lions just have a lot of injuries on defense, man.
Their defense is
the Lions.
Their defense is abysmal.
Their defense is really bad.
They got some players back, and they played pretty well against the Vikings, but also Sam Darnold. It could have been one of his games where he just
see, but the thing with the Eagles is they have a pretty damn good defense. I think they were like 2nd in points allowed. They don't allow that many points.
The thing is, the Eagles have Vic Fangio running their defense, so they're going to be totally fine. And they have a good D-line. Their O-line is insane. And they have such a dominant rushing attack that it's like, if you have a good defense and you have, they're just so complete. I think the Eagles are the team to win the Super. I think they are the team to beat. And I don't think most people have them like that, but I really do.
Out of the AFC, I like the Bills.
But here's the thing with and I like I'm like the team. Okay, the teams I'm rooting for also I'm rooting for the Bills.
I prefer the Ravens over the Bills.
I like both of them. Those are the 2 teams I want to see come out of the AFC. Sorry, Isaac. And then I'll root for the Vikings in the NFC. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see win. That would be cool. But I don't know. I just think all right. Okay, well we'll do this for a game for Chargers and Texans. I think the Chargers should win. The Texans, they've taken a pretty big step back this year. Their defense is nice though. It should be a good close game. I just like the Chargers guys more.
I do think. I mean, the Chargers are hot going into this game, but I do think the Chargers will handle business. I think it'll be a score it's 19-16 or 20-17.
It's not like the Jaguars, am I right?
Yes. Oh God, that was horrible. I don't think it was because that was a night game. Honestly, that's all I could tell you. Night games don't go the Chargers' way. So if we play the Chiefs, we're fine.
Yeah. I don't know, but it is gonna be good playoffs.
It will. Yeah, this is a really good playoff.
Also, Chase, I love that
It's
you bring up the Jaguars game right there, bro.
any fucking chance you get. It's horrible. I am numb to it. But
Yeah, Brandon Staley's not in control. That's true.
that is super true, bro.
Chase, you made that joke so many times that you cursed the Niners with it because then Brandon Staley came.
You brought up the Chiefs, and we had to watch the Chiefs Niners Super Bowl twice.
The curse of Brandon Staley.
Yeah, that's bad.
GG.
All right, guys.
I'm out. I'm good.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Later, guys.
We'll have Roki news soon. All right. See y'all later. Hopefully this lawsuit stuff gets settled in a very positive way for the team. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm not gonna lie.
We'll see.
I think it's gonna be bad, but yeah. All right. See you guys later. Have a good one.